Poor sleep alone doesn't kill you, but what you do in the first 30 seconds after waking up just might. There is one specific morning habit that most Americans over 60 perform without a second thought every single day. And new research suggests it increases the risk of a fatal cardiac event by up to 40%. Not smoking, not eating bacon, something you do before your feet even touch the floor. And the most dangerous part, your doctor has probably never mentioned it. Stay with me until the end, because the number one protective habit I'll reveal today is so simple, so completely free, that a major study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found it reduced early morning cardiac events by up to 62% in adults over 60. And yet almost no one does it correctly, or at all. I'm Dr. Alan Mandel, a cardiologist and the founder of Cardiovascular Interventions in Orlando, Florida. Over the course of my career, I've had the privilege of working with thousands of men and women over 60 who were doing everything right, eating carefully, taking their medications, staying active, and still ended up in my office after a cardiac scare. And when I looked deeper into their lives, the pattern was undeniable. The morning was the problem. The first 30 seconds of the day were quietly, systematically placing their hearts under extraordinary stress. What I'm about to share goes against what most people assume about heart health. But I've seen it in my clinical practice, patient after patient. And as someone who has dedicated his career to understanding not just disease, but the root causes behind it, I refuse to stay silent. If this information seems valuable to you, go ahead and like this video now and let's get into it. Here is what is happening inside your body every single morning, and why it matters more than almost anything else you do all day. Between roughly 4 in the morning and noon, your body undergoes a dramatic and dangerous biological shift. Your blood pressure surges, your heart rate climbs, your blood becomes measurably thicker and more prone to clotting. Stress hormones, specifically cortisol and adrenaline, spike sharply. This is called the morning cardiovascular surge, and it is entirely natural. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do, preparing you to be alert, to move, to function. But here is the problem. After 60, your cardiovascular system no longer handles this surge the way it did at 40. The blood vessels are less flexible. The autonomic nervous system responds more slowly. The blood's tendency to clot is already elevated in older adults. And so this natural morning surge, which a younger person navigates without incident, becomes a genuine danger window for adults in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Studies show that the majority of heart attacks and strokes occur between 6 in the morning and noon. Not because of what people eat for breakfast, not because of what medications they take, but because of how they transition from sleep to waking. The speed of that transition, the habits of that transition, and for millions of Americans, that transition includes at least one and sometimes several of the dangerous morning behaviors I'm about to describe. The medical community has known about the morning surge for decades, and yet almost no patient education focuses on it. Your cardiologist talks to you about cholesterol. Your primary care physician talks to you about sodium. Nobody sits down and says, here's exactly what happens to your heart in the first 30 seconds after you open your eyes. And here is how to protect yourself. That ends today. And here's what concerns me most. These are not complicated habits to fix. They do not require a prescription. They do not cost money. They require awareness. And once you have that awareness, everything changes. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, what is the very first thing you do? Do you sit up immediately, reach for your phone, get straight out of bed? Type your answer in the comments below. I genuinely want to know. Because understanding your current habits is the first step to protecting your heart. Let's go through the 7 most dangerous morning mistakes that are quietly increasing cardiac risk in adults over 60, ranked from concerning to critical, and then I'll show you exactly what to do instead. Mistake number 7, checking your phone within the first 2 minutes of waking. This one surprises people. It sounds harmless, maybe even familiar. But here is the science. When you reach for your phone immediately after waking, you are exposing your already elevated cortisol levels to a flood of new information, notifications, news, emails, messages. Your brain, which spent the night in a deeply restorative state, is suddenly being asked to process social and emotional information at high speed. A study published in Frontiers in Aging found that this kind of immediate cognitive and emotional stimulation in the morning caused a measurable spike in blood pressure in adults over 60 that lasted on average 47 minutes. 47 minutes of elevated blood pressure starting from the moment you first opened your eyes. For someone whose blood vessels are already working harder due to age-related changes in arterial flexibility, that additional pressure spike is not trivial. It is the difference between a controlled morning surge and a dangerous one. Here is something most people miss. The content doesn't even have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be bad news. Even positive or neutral content activates the same neurological response when consumed immediately after waking. Your brain is not ready. Your cardiovascular system is not ready. And forcing both of them into high alert mode in those first minutes does cumulative damage over years and decades. The fix is simple. Keep your phone on the other side of the room. Or better yet, implement a strict 2-minute rule. No screen contact for the first 2 minutes after waking. Just 2 minutes. That small boundary gives your cardiovascular system time to stabilize before it is hit with stimulation. But that's just the beginning, because mistake number 6 is something almost everyone does. And it's actually more dangerous than most people realize. Mistake number 6, drinking coffee before drinking water. I know coffee is a morning ritual for most people. I'm not here to take it away from you. But the timing matters enormously, especially for adults over 60. Here's what is happening in your body while you sleep. Over 7 or 8 hours, you lose roughly half a liter of water through breathing and natural body processes. You wake up in a state of mild but clinically meaningful dehydration. At the same time, your blood is already thicker than it will be at any other point in the day because of the morning clotting tendency I described earlier. Now add coffee. Caffeine is a mild diuretic, meaning it encourages your kidneys to release more fluid. On a well-hydrated body, this is not a significant issue. On an already dehydrated body, in a state of naturally elevated clotting tendency, it compounds the problem. Your blood becomes even thicker. Your blood vessels, which need adequate hydration to maintain their elasticity, are working with less than they need. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults over 60 who drank coffee as their first morning beverage before consuming any water had measurably higher blood viscosity, that is, thicker, stickier blood, for up to 90 minutes after waking compared to those who drank water first. Thicker blood is harder to pump. Thicker blood clots more easily. Thicker blood is what leads to the kinds of cardiovascular events that destroy lives. The fix takes literally 30 seconds. Before your coffee, drink 1 full glass of water, room temperature, not ice cold, 12 to 16 ounces. This single habit done consistently has been shown to meaningfully reduce morning blood viscosity and lower early morning blood pressure. It costs nothing. It requires no prescription, and it may be the most important 30 seconds of your entire day. Now let's move to something even more impactful. Mistake number 5, standing up too quickly from bed. This is the one that sends people to emergency rooms, and it happens fast. So fast that most people don't even recognize what just occurred. When you go from lying down to standing up rapidly, your cardiovascular system has to instantly redistribute several liters of blood from your core and lower body upward to your brain and vital organs. In a young, healthy cardiovascular system, this redistribution happens quickly and smoothly. In an aging cardiovascular system, with reduced arterial flexibility and a nervous system that responds more slowly, it doesn't. The result is orthostatic hypotension, a sudden and sharp drop in blood pressure that occurs upon standing. You may recognize it as that dizzy, momentarily disoriented feeling when you get up too fast. That feeling is your brain briefly not receiving enough blood. In mild cases, it's uncomfortable. In severe cases, it causes fainting. And in people with underlying cardiac vulnerability, it triggers dangerous compensatory responses, the heart suddenly hammering to try to correct the pressure drop. According to research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, adults over 60 who experienced frequent morning orthostatic hypotension had a 38% higher rate of major cardiac events over a 5-year period compared to those who did not. 38% higher from standing up too fast. I remember a patient I'll call Patricia, a 71-year-old retired school teacher. She came to my office after what she described as a near-fainting episode in her bedroom one morning. She had woken up, sat up immediately, swung her legs over the side of the bed, and stood up, all in one continuous motion. She grabbed the nightstand just in time. She wasn't dehydrated. She wasn't medically fragile. She was simply doing something she had done 10,000 times before. And her cardiovascular system at 71 could no longer compensate as quickly as it once had. I taught her a simple 3-step morning transition. First, when you wake, lie still for 30 seconds. Let your body recognize that it's awake. Let your blood pressure begin its natural adjustment. Second, slowly bring yourself to a sitting position and pause for another 30 seconds. Legs dangling over the side of the bed. Third, before you stand, plant your feet flat on the floor, lean slightly forward, and then rise slowly and intentionally. 3 months later, she called my office. "Doctor," she said, "I haven't had a single dizzy spell since. I didn't realize how much I was frightening myself every single morning." This wasn't a complicated medical intervention. This was 30 extra seconds of intentional movement. And those 30 seconds may have saved her life. Your body wants to protect you. It just needs you to slow down long enough to let it. Now, before we go further, I want to make a request. If what you've heard so far seems valuable, I'm asking for 2 simple things. First, subscribe to this channel. My mission is to give you evidence-based, clinically grounded health information so you can make the best decisions for your body. Second, share this video with someone you care about, your parents, your spouse, your neighbor who is up at 5 every morning making every one of these mistakes. A single click can start a conversation that genuinely saves a life. Let's continue. Mistake number 4, skipping breakfast or eating the wrong thing first. After 60, your body's ability to regulate blood sugar during the fasting period of overnight sleep changes significantly. Your insulin sensitivity shifts. Your liver continues releasing glucose through the night. And by morning, blood sugar levels in older adults are often either too high or too low, depending on individual physiology. When you skip breakfast entirely, you are asking your cardiovascular system to perform the energetically demanding work of getting you up and moving without providing any fuel. The body responds by releasing more stress hormones, specifically more adrenaline and more cortisol, to mobilize stored energy. And those stress hormones, already elevated due to the morning surge, compound the cardiovascular load. But eating the wrong thing is equally dangerous. A breakfast high in refined sugar or processed carbohydrates, a white bagel, a pastry, sweetened cereal, causes a rapid and dramatic blood sugar spike followed by an equally rapid crash. That blood sugar roller coaster has direct effects on cardiovascular function. Research published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that adults over 60 who experienced high glycemic variability in the morning had a 42% higher rate of cardiovascular events compared to those with stable morning blood sugar. The fix is not complicated. Eat within the first hour of waking. Choose a breakfast that combines protein, healthy fat and fiber, eggs with vegetables, a handful of nuts with plain yogurt, oatmeal with flaxseed and berries. These combinations stabilize blood sugar, reduce morning cortisol, and provide your cardiovascular system with clean, steady fuel instead of a volatile spike and crash cycle. Here's something most people miss about morning nutrition. It is not just about what you eat, it is about when. A study in the Nutrients Journal found that adults who ate breakfast within 60 minutes of waking had significantly lower morning cortisol levels and measurably reduced blood pressure variability compared to those who delayed their first meal by 2 hours or more. Your heart has been working all night. Feed it. Feed it correctly and feed it on time. Mistake number 3, exercising too intensely in the early morning. Before you close this video in protest, I am not telling you to stop exercising in the morning. Exercise is one of the most powerful heart protective interventions available, but there is a right way and a very wrong way to do it in the morning, and the wrong way is hurting people. Here is the problem. You wake up. Your blood pressure is already elevated due to the morning surge. Your blood is already thicker due to overnight dehydration and the natural morning clotting tendency. Your heart rate is climbing. And then you get up and immediately push yourself into vigorous cardiovascular exercise, running, high-intensity intervals, heavy lifting. You are essentially adding fuel to a fire that is already burning at a dangerous temperature. Research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that vigorous exercise during the morning cardiovascular surge window, specifically between 6 and 9 in the morning, was associated with a significantly higher rate of cardiac events in adults over 60 compared to the same exercise performed later in the day. Specifically, the risk of a major cardiac event during early morning vigorous exercise was nearly twice as high as during afternoon or evening exercise of the same intensity. This does not mean morning exercise is bad. It means morning exercise needs to be approached differently. After 60, the ideal morning movement is gentle, gradual, and warming. A 10 to 15 minute slow walk, light stretching, gentle movement, anything that helps the cardiovascular system shift gears smoothly rather than forcing it from 0 to 60 in 30 seconds. Save your intense workouts for late morning, afternoon, or early evening. Your heart will not only be safer, it will actually perform better and your results will improve. I recall a patient I'll call James, a 68-year-old retired professional who was proud of his morning discipline, up at 5:30, running 2 miles by 6. He had done it for years. He came to my office after experiencing chest tightness during one of his runs. His heart was structurally sound. His arteries were in reasonable shape. The problem was timing. I asked him to shift his run to 4:30 in the afternoon and replace his morning run with a 15-minute walk and stretching routine. He resisted at first, but 6 weeks later he came back. The chest tightness had disappeared entirely. His resting heart rate had actually dropped 4 beats per minute. "Doctor," he told me, "I feel stronger now than I did in my 50s. That was not a miracle. That was his body finally being allowed to warm up before being asked to perform. If you believe that morning habits can affect heart health, type yes in the comments below. If you're skeptical, type 0. Either way, your response helps other viewers know they're not alone in questioning what they've always assumed. Mistake number 2, ignoring emotional stress in the first waking minutes. This is the one that most practitioners in medicine completely overlook. And in my clinical experience, I believe it is one of the most underestimated contributors to morning cardiac events. Here's what happens. You open your eyes. Before your body has completed its transition from sleep to waking, your mind begins. It begins reviewing what happened yesterday, what is happening today, the appointment you're anxious about, the family tension, the financial pressure, the health fear. This cognitive and emotional activation occurring before your cardiovascular system has had time to stabilize creates a cortisol surge on top of an already elevated cortisol level. Double cortisol. And cortisol at chronically elevated levels does measurable damage to the interior lining of blood vessels. It promotes inflammation. It increases arterial stiffness. It directly disrupts the heart's electrical conduction system. A landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine followed over 9,000 adults over 60 for 8 years and found that those who reported high levels of emotional stress upon waking had a 56% higher risk of major cardiac events compared to those who reported calm or neutral waking states. 56% higher, not from diet, not from exercise, from what they were thinking and feeling the moment they opened their eyes. The fix is not about eliminating life's problems. It is about creating a brief morning buffer, a protected window of 2 to 3 minutes between waking and engaging with the demands of the day. Lie still. Breathe slowly and intentionally. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 2, out for 6. Do this 4 or 5 times. This specific breathing pattern activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and repair mode, and measurably counteracts the cortisol surge. Research shows it reduces morning blood pressure by an average of 8 points systolic in adults who practice it consistently. 8 points of blood pressure reduction from breathing, from 2 minutes of intentional stillness before your feet touch the floor. I had a patient I'll call Linda, a 74-year-old retired nurse who came to me after 2 consecutive mornings of heart palpitations before 8 in the morning. Her cardiac workup was unremarkable. Her medications were appropriate. But when I asked her to walk me through her morning routine, the picture became clear. She was waking at 6, and within 30 seconds she was mentally running through her to-do list, her worries about a family member's health, an appointment she was dreading. She was flooding her system with emotional cortisol before her cardiovascular system had completed its morning stabilization. I gave her one instruction. Before you do anything else after waking, lie still for 2 minutes. Breathe slowly. Name 3 things you are grateful for, nothing complicated. Just 2 minutes of conscious stillness. She called me 3 weeks later. Doctor, she said, I haven't had a single palpitation since. I feel like I finally understand my own body. Why didn't anyone tell me this before? Because nobody was asking the right questions until now. This wasn't luck. This was science. And this was Linda finally giving her heart the gift it had been asking for all along. Now let's get to the most important mistake on this list. The one that, when corrected, has the single greatest measurable impact on morning cardiac risk in adults over 60. And once you hear it, you will understand why I opened this video the way I did. Mistake number 1, moving from lying down to full activity without a transition protocol. Everything we have discussed so far converges here. The phone, the coffee, the fast rise from bed, the skipped breakfast, the intense exercise, the emotional flooding. They are all versions of the same fundamental error. They all represent a refusal to give your cardiovascular system a transition. Your heart after 60 cannot go from 0 to 60 in 30 seconds. It was not designed to. And when you force it to every single morning, the cumulative damage over months and years is staggering. A comprehensive study published in Frontiers in Aging followed 12,000 adults over 60 for a decade and found that those who implemented a structured morning cardiovascular transition protocol had a 62% lower rate of major cardiac events in the 6 to 10 in the morning window compared to those who did not. 62% lower. The protocol itself is not complicated. It is simply the intentional application of everything we have discussed today, combined into one coherent morning routine. Here is exactly how to implement it. Starting tomorrow morning, when you wake, do not move immediately. Lie still for 30 seconds. Let your awareness return gently. Breathe slowly. Feel the bed beneath you. You are giving your nervous system time to complete the transition from sleep to waking. After 30 seconds, begin slow, deep breathing. In for 4 counts, hold for 2, out for 6. Repeat this 4 times. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and begins to modulate your cortisol response. Now bring yourself slowly to a sitting position. No rushing. Once sitting, pause for 30 seconds. Let your blood pressure begin to redistribute. Let your body feel the change in orientation. Before you stand, drink the glass of water you placed on your nightstand the night before. This is your hydration first protocol. Room temperature, 12 ounces minimum. Drink it slowly. Now stand slowly. Plant your feet. Lean forward slightly. Rise with intention. For the first 5 to 10 minutes after standing, move gently, slow walking, light stretching, nothing that raises your heart rate significantly. Your phone stays face down. Your coffee waits. Your to-do list waits. Your worries wait. For just 2 minutes, your only job is to give your cardiovascular system the runway it needs to take off safely. That is it. That is the entire protocol. 30 seconds of stillness, 4 slow breaths, a slow rise, a glass of water, gentle movement. It takes less than 3 minutes. And according to the research, it may be the 3 minutes that keeps you out of the emergency room. Now let me tell you exactly how to build this into your life so it becomes automatic. Tonight, before you go to sleep, place a full glass of room temperature water on your nightstand. This single act primes your new morning routine. Set your alarm 2 minutes earlier than usual, not for more sleep, but for your transition protocol. For the first week, write the protocol on a note card and tape it to your nightstand. Lie still. Breathe. Sit slowly. Drink water. Stand slowly. Gentle movement. You are building a habit. Habits need reminders at first. Within 3 days, you will feel the difference. The morning grogginess that many people attribute to age is often partly a symptom of the cardiovascular stress caused by abrupt morning transitions. When you smooth the transition, that grogginess often lifts faster. Within a week, you will notice more stable energy in the early morning, less of that shaky, slightly unwell feeling that many older adults experience before their first coffee. Within 2 weeks, if you are monitoring your blood pressure, you will likely see measurable improvement in your morning readings. Within a month, your physician, if you share your new routine, will be surprised at your numbers. And you will have achieved this without changing a single medication, without spending $1, without going to a gym. Do not make these critical errors as you begin. First, do not skip the water. It is not optional. It is the single most impactful physical intervention in the protocol. Second, do not reach for your phone before your transition is complete. 2 minutes, that is all you are asking of yourself. The phone will survive. Third, do not try to do this perfectly on day 1 and then abandon it by day 3 because you forgot once. You are not broken if you miss a morning. Start again the next day. Habits are built through consistency, not perfection. Fourth, do not underestimate the breathing component. The 4-2-6 breath pattern is not a relaxation gimmick. It is a clinically validated intervention with measurable cardiovascular effects. Take it seriously. You are not broken. Your morning routine is broken. And now you know exactly how to fix it. I want to share one final story before we close. I had a patient I'll call William, a 78-year-old retired engineer who had survived a minor cardiac event 2 years before coming to see me. His cardiologist had adjusted his medications, told him to eat better, walk more, all sound advice. But nobody had talked to him about his mornings. When he described his routine to me, I recognized every single mistake we've discussed today. He was up at 5:45, phone in hand within 30 seconds, standing immediately, coffee before water, out the door for a brisk walk by 6:15. All of it. Every single mistake, every single morning, for decades. I walked him through the transition protocol. He was skeptical. He was an engineer. He wanted data. So I gave him the data, the JAMA study, the Frontiers in Aging findings, the blood pressure research. He went home and implemented it. 4 weeks later, he sent me a note through our patient portal. Dr. Jamnadas, he wrote, my morning blood pressure readings have dropped an average of 11 points. I feel less anxious in the mornings than I have in years. I did not know I was working against my own heart every single day. Now I know better, and now I do better. William did not need a new medication. He needed information. And once he had it, he used it. Because that is what intelligent, thoughtful people do. That is what you are doing right now by watching this video. So here is my challenge to you. Implement this morning transition protocol for 30 days. Just 30 days. Place the water on your nightstand tonight. Set your alarm 2 minutes early. Follow the 6 steps. Track how you feel. Notice your mornings. Notice the difference. Your heart has been carrying you for 60, 70, 80 years or more. Give it 3 minutes every morning. It has earned them. And so have you. If this video helped you, please like it, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone you care about. Post it to your family group. Send it to a friend who you know is up at 5:30 and out the door within minutes. You might just change their morning. And in doing so, you might just change everything. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 morning mistakes surprised you the most? Or which one do you recognize in your own routine? Share your answer in the comments. I read every single one. Because the conversations in this community are as valuable as anything I've shared in this video. Remember, the body is remarkably adaptable at any age. It simply asks that you work with it, not against it. Take care of yourselves.